are talking Cargo. This is a zombie movie from Australia that stars Martin Freeman. Of course, you may know from Bilbo Baggins from the Hobbit movies, and of course he was in Black Panther and Marvel Civil War. And here he is in a zombie film. I would say this movie is kind of similar to the recent zombie film It's Dangerous and Red. Maybe not in plot, but in kind of that kind of like zombie tone, where it is a zombie film, but it's not like a too much of a horror film. It's more of a character piece rather than a you know, more of a horror film. Now, the thing with this movie is, if you have seen the trailer, you have pretty much seen the plot of the movie. This is one of the most frustrating cases where the trailer gives away a massive reveal in the actual trailer, and it kind of, outside of that reveal, this movie doesn't have any more surprises in it. So I'm going to be deliberately vague with the plot here, because if you haven't seen the trailer, or don't even read the synopsis, because I'm going to be really vague. But ultimately, the story is midway through a kind of some type of zombie apocalypse, and it focuses on a family. Martin Freeman is the guy. He has his wife, and they have a young baby daughter. And you know, it's established that this has been going on for a while, this zombie apocalypse, and the government have, you know, given everyone kind of like medical packs. If you get bitten, essentially you have 48 hours, and you've got all this kind of like a watch thing that gives you a countdown, and a kind of like a pen to kill yourself and stuff like that. So it's kind of like definitely at least a few years into a zombie apocalypse, and it follows Martin Freeman and his family as they kind of go through and try and kind of obviously scrounge for food, and ultimately it becomes a quest to try and find a sanctuary for their young daughter Rosie, as kind of as plot threads unfold ultimately throughout the movie. And it's a quest to find some other kind of survivors who can kind of aid them in their quest. And that is as far as I'm going with the kind of the plot here, because like I've said, this movie has a couple of things that happen in it, both of which are kind of ruined by the trailer. So if you can avoid that, then we'll be have a different experience. So if you take that out of it, let's just say we can. That is because it's a big frustration for me, because the film doesn't have anything else. It does not have any kind of other tricks up its sleeve. If you've seen the trailer and you watch the film, you kind of know what's going to happen, so you're just waiting for the inevitable. It's a real shame. But it is a good movie, and I like it because of the acting, first of all. This is by far and away a character piece. Martin Freeman does a great job of this kind of like befuddled dad who kind of doesn't really know what he's doing, and is really just kind of like flying with the seat of his pants and trying to kind of do best for his family, and having to kind of make decisions and stuff like that as the film goes on. But his interplay with both the lady who plays his wife, and even the baby. The baby's too young to be acting, but they've really got some good reactions from this baby, and then Martin Freeman's character. They do seem like genuine kind of like family reactions, so it's really good. And also it's kind of, because this is set in Australia and in the outback, we obviously have some sort of great scenery. It did remind me a little bit of the movie The Dead, which is based in Africa, obviously different continent, but it has that kind of like that big expanse, you know, the kind of like the wilderness and stuff like that. Although there's less zombies in this film than there was in The Dead. There are sort of zombie attacks, but they're more in the background. The actual main threats actually come from other human characters, much like kind of like you do with The Walking Dead. It's just the zombies are more of a background for the most part, although there are obviously a few zombie effects, and they do something quite neat with the zombie effects, where there's kind of like this green goo that sort of secretes, and when you were just about to turn, you get sort of pretty much covered in this kind of goo. It looks pretty good, I've got to say. So that I quite liked. So I've got to say, although it's quite a slower paced zombie film, and it's frustrating because it doesn't do anything else other than kind of the spoilers it gives away in the trailer. So ultimately you kind of know where it's going, so ultimately it's a little predictable. It's a very, very thought-provoking movie, and it gives you the feels. Right there, baby, right there. Martin Freeman, I think, is really good in this role. He's taking it super seriously. He's not taking it like some kind of paycheck horror movie, you know, crappy B-movie gig. He's properly kind of invested in this role, and it's really good, and it really shows. And hats off to the directors, Ben Howling and Yolanda Ramp, who also wrote this. So I think they do a pretty good job. It's just a shame, like I've said, I think the marketing here was poor for it. So I'll give this movie a 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.